to the 495. I'm your host, Doug Sparks, editor-in-chief of Merrimack Valley Magazine. Lou, how are you doing?
How are we doing?
We're keeping up. We're keeping up for sure. I'm hungry, which is bad.
I know.
Which is bad because I have a feeling after this show that I'm going to be ravenous. Right? You're a big barbecue fan.
I'm a huge barbecue fan.
Do you have like a particular region that you like? Is there some type of barbecue that you...
No, it's like I like it all.
Yeah.
I like it all. I've had the good luck to have some Texas barbecue and that type of thing, which I kind of like. And
I don't know if I've ever had. I wouldn't know. I mean, I lived in Florida for a while, and I know people don't think of Florida as the South, but it is the South, and there's definitely Southern barbecue in Florida. I don't know how authentic it is. I went to a place that like Elvis used to go to get his barbecue, and they had a pair of his boots up on the wall. And
that's kind of all homogenized. We'll ask Renay, but it seems like it's kind of homogenized, that there isn't. I mean, Tex-Mex is kind of a different type of thing, but
everything leads in that direction, unfortunately, which is too bad. Because I feel like it's nice to have things that are regional, and like you're only going to get this thing if you go to North Carolina.
My cousin in Austin threw a Super Bowl party, and I lost the whole party because he brought in this guy to do brisket for him. Yeah, and he brought the brisket, brought the mesquite wood.
Yeah,
and just started from scratch, and I just sat down with a frozen margarita and just watched him cook the thing.
Yeah.
It was just fascinating.
That's great. Yeah. So, if you haven't guessed, our guest today is Renay Wolterding, who is the owner of Mill City BBQ in Lowell. Renay, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Hello, everybody.
Hello. How are you doing?
We're making it. We're hanging in there.
You're busy, right? I'm under the impression that you're very busy, and it's pretty chaotic right there.
Yes, it is. It is a busy place. It is chaotic. Thank God we're one of the restaurants that hopefully will be able to make it through. Puts a damper on things with the dine-in and not dine-in, and how many people recently moved to a bigger space, big old restaurant downtown Lowell.
Yeah. Sure.
So right there, could put a damper. I went from like 41 seats to 100.
Yeah.
So that put a damper in things. But, we turn the phones on and it rings. So I can't ask for any more than that.
Sure. And if people are curious, I know people are already starting. It's almost lunchtime. People are already starting to think. The website is millcitybarbq.com. What are your hours?
So our hours at this point are from 4 to 9 every day. Saturday and Sunday we're open from 12 to 9. So we open, in the afternoon on Saturdays and Sundays from 12 to 9. And then the weekdays we're open from 4 till 9.
Okay, so if you're starving, don't head over to Lowell right now. Wait until 4 p.m. It's funny, when we first spoke, you asked me something that I think was unusual, that I don't normally get asked, because I invited you on the podcast, and I think your first question is, have you eaten here? Yeah. Right? And it sounds like, but I don't get, like, I'll approach people all the time, and people don't say, hey, did you read the book? Or, like, they don't ask me my personal, like, involvement. And now, fortunately, I didn't have to lie, because, like, we get takeout from there all the time. It's one of my favorite places. And I'm not, I've got whatever. I love Mill City BBQ. It's great. And I have 2 young kids who are growing up on Mill City BBQ, so it's an event. It's more than just like it's more than just a restaurant to us. It's an event when we get Mill City BBQ. So I was happy you asked me that, and I was happy that I could honestly say yes, I eat there, and I eat there with a lot of enthusiasm. For people who don't know, you bill yourself as being North Carolina barbecue. What is North Carolina barbecue?
So North Carolina barbecue is more of a dry rub. It's a smoke and talk for itself. That's all about North Carolina.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be able to smoke your meat, season your meat, pull your meat out, and it tastes good with or without sauce. That's my favorite thing to hear is, oh my God, the barbecue was so good. I didn't even need sauce.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel like North Carolina barbecue. It stands more for like a drier rub or more of a longer smoke. A hickory. I am originally from Lowell, Massachusetts.
Okay.
But, I moved to North Carolina almost 20 years ago. So, I was fortunate enough to be able to master a lot about the barbecue. I mean, I started with food trucks, just barbecue food trucks, and I'd go to all the fairs, barbecue festivals and the competitions, and, I realized maybe I had a little knack for this barbecue thing, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I love barbecue. It's my favorite food to eat. Hands down, wherever I go, I always look for a barbecue restaurant, So that's how I define North Carolina barbecue. It's more of a dry, more of a rub. It's more of a season and then a longer smoke. So, and then we got the 4 sauces. So let me put that out there.
Okay, all right.
4 different sauces. We do a honey brown sugar, which is our house. We do a Carolina Gold, which is a mustard base. That's a popular one. We do a sweet pineapple and a hot and honey.
Mm.
So we actually do 4 sauces. We don't put sauces on the meat. We let you put your sauces on the meat if you like.
Yes, absolutely. So what, if you don't mind my asking, why did you leave Lowell and head down to North Carolina?
At that time, my mom had moved out there. My parents moved out there. And so, I was just kind of not knowing what direction I wanted to go in growing up in Lowell.
Yeah.
And so I kind of just, took the opportunity and went out there. I was already grown. I'm actually, in my 50s. So I was 20-something when I went out there.
Okay.
And then I realized, I always had a knack for cooking. And then it was popular. The food trucks are really popular in North Carolina. And before you know it, I got a food truck, and then I got another one, and I got really into this barbecue thing. And then as I kept coming to Lowell, all of my family's in Lowell, I always came to visit, holidays, summers. I always said, wow, I've never been to a place that doesn't have barbecue. That's what Lowell, that was the whole drive of Lowell.
Yeah.
Like, in North Carolina, there's a barbecue restaurant on every corner, and you better be good. Your line ain't long, and you haven't sold out by the afternoon, early evening. I don't know. Your barbecue's probably not as good as the next guy. There's a lot of competition out there.
Sure.
But here, it was nothing. And I'm like, oh, my God, you got to go all the way to Boston, or you got to go to New Hampshire, or, they have more of these corporate barbecue places, franchise. And so that was really what drove me to come back here and do something that I felt like wasn't ever done in Lowell. So, and I've had a little success here with it. It kind of took off once I got it open. COVID put a damper on things, of course.
Sure.
But, it really took off. I was really happy with my decision. I stayed in one location almost 5 years. And then in the last, year and a half almost, I moved to beautiful downtown Lowell. I was able to, take the brand from one location to another and, it still be popular. I mean, we hit the ground running over there a couple of months ago.
Sure. Why did you move? Did you move for more space?
Say that again?
Did you move for more space? Why did you move locations?
I did because, location is everything. And it was smaller, the place. I wanted to expand a little bit. I wanted a bigger kitchen. I wanted to build, a really nice bar, which I did have a bar. So where I was it was just a lot smaller. It was a little off, the main strip, which is Gorham Street, is where I was. And like I said, I just kind of, I felt like I can grow a little bit. Maybe, wet my feet a little more, get in a bigger space, offer more to the menu, do a bigger bar. And it worked. It worked. It was awesome. 6 months before COVID, we hit the ground running over there. Had to hire more people. I'm a family business. Me and my 3 sons been in this business together for, 15 years.
Wow.
So I've expanded and done all this great stuff. But, then once again, COVID hit.
Sure.
So we got to watch and see how this thing plays out in the restaurant business, because I think it's tough on all of us.
Right.
So I don't like to spend too much time complaining or, viewing my issue on it, because I'm sure it's everybody's thing. But the barbecue is still popular, and I thank God for that. I pride my heart and soul in the meat and the sides, and they say, soul cooking, comfort food, that type of cooking, you got to cook with love. You know, you got to really love what you're doing. And get up early in the morning and start smoking your meat.
Yeah. What time do you get up in the morning?
Oh, man, we used to get up at about 6.
Yeah.
We actually smoke overnight, and the thing about it is, you know, you got to smoke for about 10 to 12 hours.
Yeah.
The brisket is about 14 to 15. But then you got to get up early in the morning to make sure you turn it off, because then it'll keep on going and going.
Yeah.
So that's something, that's a major technique in smoking. It's hours, you know, long and slow. You got to know when to start it. You got to know when to stop it, you know, turn it off. You got to know the proper seasonings to put so it kind of seeps in the meat as it's smoking. I learned a lot in the years. You know, I didn't always know everything going in the beginning. I knew how to cook, but smoking is a whole nother area.
Sure. So this is the real deal. I mean, a lot of people don't. This is sort of especially people around here, they don't really understand barbecue, what that means, right? Barbecue is no matter whether it's Texas, North Carolina, it's low and slow, right? Yep. It's smoke. That's the key to barbecue, right?
Right.
What is it about the smoke? Why smoke something? Why go through all that effort? Why get up at 6 a.m. when you could do something kind of fast on high heat?
Well, here's the thing. I've asked you in the beginning, have you eaten there? Because if you've eaten there, you kind of understand. It's always the taste in the meat. It's the texture. It's how it falls off the bone. Oh, man. Sometimes I pull that pork out, and I can just touch it. Yeah. Literally, just put a glove on, and it just falls apart. Oh, that's when I know. I look at that meat, and I say, man, this meat's going to be good today. I go crazy over the meat every day. My sons be like, whoa. She's all into it. Like, the ribs fall off the bone, and there's certain, you know, smoking techniques that you have to use, especially with the brisket and the pork. It's different woods. Like with the pork, you use maybe apple or maple or something sweeter. And then with the brisket, you do something a little more savory, like a hickory or mesquite or, you know, something without a sweet flavor. And then the chicken is like all the way hickory. When you do chicken with hickory, you always get that brown top. It never fails. So it's not only about smoking. It's about what smoke you use, how different it tastes. It took years for me to be able to know the difference between when my son smoked. I said, don't be lazy now until you put the right smoke in the right meat. I know what's supposed to taste like. I know what it's supposed to look like. There's a lot of technique and love and passion that is put into any food, any restaurant.
Sure. You know, but at the same time, I think there are certain things within the food industry where people kind of get burnt out or they get tired and they lose that passion. Then every once in a while, you run into somebody like yourself who's still like excited and still like deeply, deeply involved in what they're doing. And I'm wondering, like, what is that? What is that thing that makes it so that like every day you're still like really, really excited about the results and you're really in tune and you're not kind of at that point where you're like, I've done this 100 times. I know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah.
It's the people. It's the same question I ask everybody, including you, Doug. I said, hey, have you tasted the barbecue? Because if you taste it, it speaks for itself, and then you can co-sign. So I don't want you co-signing my name if you never even taste the barbecue.
Right on.
I want you to be on Mill City. Have you tasted the barbecue? No, but I'm going to get around. A lot of people said it was good. You know, I haven't tasted it yet. So, you know, that's the passion. Like, when I see people happy, and I'm still cooking, I'm still happy. I love making people happy. I love when you say the food is good, because then I know that effort, that when you said waking up early in the morning, why, after all the years, are you still happy doing it? It's because I love to make people happy. I love to make people happy with that food. That's that.
Yeah.
They say that thing, that soul thing, it's in your soul. You know, you're supposed to be happy when you're cooking, because I even tell my son, I said, if you're not happy, get out of my kitchen. Because only a happy cook is going to make happy, good food.
Yeah.
If something is wrong and you over there mixing my cornbread like that, it might not come out as good. So if something's wrong, you got to cook with passion. You got to cook with pleasure. And you got to know when you feed people, damn, I want them to have a smile on their face. I peek in the dining room sometimes because I know if the food is good. I see a big table out there. I know I just had to make 20 plates at one time. And I look, I say, okay, so happy. Go on and finish doing what I'm doing. So I guess it's just that love and that passion that, most restaurant owners or most restaurant chefs and people in the food industry feel. We all have that same feeling. I know we're all going through it. Oh, my man, I was late for your meeting today because I ran into a restaurant owner here at the meat market, and we got into a 30, 40-minute conversation just on this whole, thing. And I look back and I say, my situation is not as bad as some people.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think your situation's better than other restaurateurs?
I think, I think people still love the food. I still think I feel the same way when I cook, even, with this whole thing going on. And believe me, it's stressing me out, too. I went from half the revenue, half the customers. Well, first, let me start. I went from one location to another. Double the rent, double the seating, double the staff, double the kitchen size. So once COVID hit, it just it took all that extra away.
Sure.
So I do feel like I am a little fortunate, because here's the thing. When I turn that phone on at 4 o'clock, it rings.
Yeah.
And there's still another whole half of the day, though, where I feel like I'm missing. So, if it wasn't for COVID, I feel like once again I'll be doing double the pleasure,
Sure.
double the capacity, double the food, double the people, double the customers. But with this whole thing going on, it just took away half of everything for America. I mean, what we could have, would have did, but then this.
Sure.
So, like I said, I get up every day and I'm like, boys, you know what? We still making it. I'm not that far behind on my bills. I'm not saying they all caught up, but they ain't that far behind. I'm kind of slowly but surely making it, and I'm blessed. I'm fortunate. Like I said, the food is still good. I wake up every day. I feel the same way. I put the same love and passion, and I keep it moving. And I just pray the next day is going to be better than yesterday, because in all my years, I've never seen anything like this.
Well, here's my confession, by the way. I've never eaten there. I've never eaten at the restaurant. I started getting Mill City BBQ on DoorDash. I started having it delivered, and part of the reason why I never went to visit is I have very young kids. It's hard for us to go out to restaurants.
Yeah.
And we discovered it like early on in the pandemic. So there must be people like me too who, because for a while everything was takeout, sort of tried your place for the first time.
Well, I'm glad you said that. And yes, I have a lot of passion for people who have not been able to come experience, the whole part of the whole experience of being in a family-owned, family-style restaurant. So Southern, comfort, love, there's a few people I've met in the last couple of months that say, no, I'm never sitting in there, but I've gotten you on DoorDash or Grubhub.
Right.
So thank God for them. Kudos to them. I tell them all the time, you guys help me get it through. I didn't have them before the pandemic.
Sure. Yeah.
I can only do one or the other, because before you know it, you run out. So I had to say, I can't do those to-go stuff. I just gotta service the people that comes in house, and I gotta make sure that they have the dining experience. So a lot of times I didn't, depends on DoorDash or Grubhub. I'm sorry, guys. But they have really helped me make it through this. Grubhub, there's another one, Chow Now, Fuda. I can't tell you how much these places have helped through this situation. But I'm over them. I want my restaurant back.
Yeah.
I want to see people. I want people at my bar. I want to see sports. I want to look forward to, all the stuff that we do all year that now has been canceled downtown.
Yeah. Sure.
I miss everything.
Well, now that I've spoken with you, I have to go. I have to go eat in the restaurant. It's I realize now, as much as I was enjoying it, I was missing an important part of the experience. I mean, your tagline is where beer and barbecue meet, and it's like right there. The vibe is like festive. People having a good time, relaxing, eating this delicious food, having a couple drinks. And yeah, that must have been.
To equate it to music, which you like to do on the show a lot.
Yeah.
There's a thing about a restaurant when you see, Renee, your passion that comes through in a restaurant. It comes through to the table. It's like watching a band outside, and when they're having fun, you're having fun. This has got to be the same feel because that passion always hits the table. That's what makes a restaurant special.
Yeah, I live for that. I live for exactly what you said. I mean, when I read those reviews at the end of the night, man, they used to make me cry. Like, I read them to the boys. I'm like, read this, read that. Okay, we'll read it later. And I'm like, I read this stuff every night. I want to know exactly, what happened within that day, whether it made people happy or was somebody disappointed. Or, one thing about me, I target the people. I am known for that. Well, I can't hug them now since it's over, but I'm a hugger. I'm a breather. I'm like, hey, how you doing? I love the kids. Anybody will tell you. They say, Renee loves the kids. He loves the kids. So, I miss it. I miss the people. I can't wait for this whole thing to be over. And I appreciate you guys having me on. I know I talked your head off.
No, it's great.
So Renee, when the restaurant's opening, you're one of these owners that's walking the floor, right? Meeting people, saying hi, how are things going, and how's your meal, right?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
That's such a big thing. It's such a big thing to me.
And I miss that. The last 2 weeks, we've been able to let people in the restaurant. Wow, nothing like it was. I think people are still scared to come out. I don't know. It's just, you get a table over there, table over there. And everybody got to keep the mask on, and it's just a different vibe. It is a different.
Hey, do you take reservations now? Like, how does it even work? Like, what if people wanted to come in tonight or Friday night? How do they need to call first?
It's a restaurant, right? So, in the beginning we were doing reservations only, but it's kind of not needed. In the last few weeks since we have been opened up, I'm still doing a great amount of to-go food, packaged food for some reason. You get a few tables. This Saturday, I had like 4 tables at one time, but boy, was they spread apart. I mean, you had one on one side, then you had another table. You had like 2 people at the bar. I mean, my restaurant seats 100. So I'm like, oh, wow, we got to get back to the norm. We can't be living like this. So, you're more than welcome to come on. I'm sure I can squeeze you in somewhere.
I will be there. Hey, tell me, we spoke a lot about the barbecue. Tell me about your sides.
Oh, man, my sides. I make them all fresh every day, too. We make collard greens. We smoke our collard greens with turkey legs. We make a mac and cheese with a sharp and a Monterey Jack and a cheddar. Delicious. We make that homemade every day. We do a baked beans. The baked beans go in with the pork butt because you gotta bake the beans for 12 hours, and then we add a brown sugar and a molasses and a couple other seasonings.
Yeah.
So then we do a sweet potato fry with maple syrup on top. A friend of mine who lives in Maine, actually. He sent me this syrup, and we started collaborating together, and we actually put it in the pancake batter and on the sweet potato fries. So it's become really popular. We do a homemade coleslaw. Oh, and the potato salad is the die for.
Yes.
We do a homemade potato salad. We do a homemade coleslaw. I actually call it carrot coleslaw. Put a little more carrot than the cabbage. We do, what else do we? Oh, we do a French fry. Oh, we do corn on the cob, too.
Yeah.
And we smoke it. We smoke the corn on the cob in the smoker.
I've tried all these things. I didn't necessarily understand what I was eating. I just liked it. I've tried everything. The collard greens are amazing. I love that there's smoked turkey in there. I'm a big coleslaw fan.
Yeah.
I love the coleslaw.
Yeah,
The
I want to go
coleslaw's
back to that
fantastic.
because I'm a huge coleslaw fan, and it's a hallmark in a barbecue joint, the quality of the coleslaw. So that comes down to the sauce, Renee, right? What?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you notice, I serve that crunchy. And then I let you put your own sauce, which is a mayonnaise base. We call it magic blend, but we kind of make it with a little sugar and vinegar and mayonnaise and a little egg yolk. And we put that on the coleslaw, but we actually shave all that, and we serve it to you crunchy, and then you put your sauce on. So the one thing about the coleslaw is crunchy every time.
Nice. Yeah.
So it doesn't fit in the dressing. Same as the potato salad. We try to make a small amount of that every day because I do not like yesterday's potatoes. I don't too much like yesterday's anything, being in the restaurant business. I'm in the business to sell out. People have to get used to that around here. In the South, they're used to that. You put a sign on the door, sold out, going fishing, because the barbecue is good. You wake up and you see that line of people's out there waiting for that brisket, that pulled pork.
Yeah.
Barbecue is something you cannot refrigerate. So if I don't sell it, I have to refrigerate it or give it away. It's just one of those kind of foods. The collard greens get soggy.
Yeah.
The beans get thick. The potato salad gets watery. The mac and cheese, the noodles get too soft. Barbecue chicken gets hard. Pulled pork gets dry. Brisket gets dry. So it's one of those foods where, it's very important that you sell it, you hit that mark, because you don't want to be that type of barbecue restaurant that people say, oh, have you been to Mill City? Have you had in Mill City? Is it good? It's all right. I don't know. I think they barbecue's old. Or, yeah, I've been there, but it ain't that great. You got to hit that mark with people in barbecue. They either like it or they don't. So you got to hit it right at the first time. Like I always say, the best customers are the customers you get the very first time they eat your food. But sometimes they don't give you a second chance.
Yep.
Like, I'm not going back there. It wasn't good.
I've been to those places.
Yep.
Hey, I know Lou has a bunch of questions for you, so I wanted to ask you one more before I kind of clam up for a second. Listening to you talk, I have to wonder. I asked you before about why you think you're doing okay in the pandemic and given how crazy 2020 has been, and I'm wondering, and I'm sure you're humble about this. I'm wondering how much it has to do with you as a person. Like, you get a sense that people, there are plenty of restaurants around where people might like the food, but they don't necessarily have an attachment to, the owner. They don't feel like they have a personal relationship. Do you think you're a part of it?
She's absolutely part of it.
I want to think the barbecue speaks for itself. I mean, I've always said on every show I've been on, even Phantom Gourmet, I know people love me, and I want my barbecue to speak for itself, because I would hate people to come around and say, this is funny, I say it all the time, I say, oh, the owner, she's really nice, but her barbecue, not so much. She's sweet as can be. Oh, I love her. But her barbecue, yeah, nah, not that good. So I want it to be like a mix, I like pleasant service. No matter where I go, I'm a foodie. I eat all the time. You come in my house, I ain't got nothing but water, bottled water, and maybe some salad up in there. Man, that's for me. I'm not a person who, once I get home, the last thing I'm doing is cooking a meal or cooking food, I go out to eat a lot. It's one of my favorite things. One of the things I love the most is great service. That gets me every time. Then the food. Because I always say the service is good and the people's nice, the restaurant is clean. And the food got a chance. You got a chance, So I definitely I pride on good service. I try to get to know people. I definitely try to eat in my town or around town, more of the local restaurants.
Yeah.
I know everyone knows me. I make a point of that. And I do greet every table. I do. I could have an apron full of flour. I'll go in the back sometimes. Say, did I just step out there looking like that? But it's just something I like to do. I just want to go out there. If I can greet every table, I just want to know how the food is.
Hey, so you bring it up. I have to ask you, do you have favorite local restaurants that you like to go and eat at?
I do. I've got a couple of restaurants.
Can you tell me?
I don't have any feelings, but I got there's a place. It's called Simply Kamai. I love it.
Simply Kamai is amazing.
It is amazing. And we got the noodle bowl right downtown Lowell. 101 Sushi. I think it's 101 Sushi. He would kill me if I didn't know his name. I eat it all the time. The burger company. It was a burger company downtown Lowell Burger Company.
Yeah.
They've recently closed, but, they're pretty good. And now here's my number one favorite. You guys are really going to be like, what? Is the vegetarian place.
Oh, really? That is a surprise.
Yeah.
Well, it depends upon the vegetarian place. What do you? I can guess what you're talking about. What are you referring to?
I'm trying to think of the name. It's crazy because I eat there all the time.
What do you think it is, Doug?
I'm suddenly blanking on it too, but maybe we're like synchronized or something. Life Alive. You're probably talking about Life Alive, right?
Life Alive.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Well,
how would I forget Life Alive?
The reason why you like Life Alive because it's so good, right? It's delicious.
It's just a bomb. I tell them all the time. I'm like, y'all's menu and my menu is completely night and day, but if I can eat there every day, even if I just drink a smoothie. Or one of their salads is just really good. Now, I'm not a vegetarian. I love meat. I love meat. But sometimes, I like to switch it up. And like I said, I like to go out to eat around town. So these are just places I like to. Oh, Fuse is another one. Yeah. I love Fuse. Fuse is another.
Cool.
And I love pizza. I love espresso pizza.
Great. So, Lou, do you have any questions for our guest?
Let's start there because I'm curious about running a barbecue joint. You talked about growing up as a barbecue owner or growing up in barbecue in North Carolina, where it's kind of a staple. It's a way of life down there. Up here in the Northeast, not so much, and especially in a city like Lowell, which is one of its hallmarks is it's diverse. There's so much food culture in Lowell. What is it like running a barbecue restaurant next to a sushi joint, next to a vegetarian joint, next to a Thai joint? How well does barbecue fit when you have such a diverse food culture in the city?
How does barbecue? Oh, well, two things I will say why it fits here, because there is none.
Yeah.
So I knew I had a chance with that if it was good. That goes back to it having to be good. So I had one foot in the door because I didn't have a lot of competition. I was a little safe out there in North Carolina. I was established. Just cost of living was a little cheaper. It was just a different, struggle out there. Coming here without barbecue being as popular, you didn't know what you were going to get. You kind of put everything out there, and you kind of had to wait and see, okay, what am I going to get back in return? I wonder how this is going to work out. So that was number one, was that I didn't have a lot of competition. And then I really, really did have faith in my cooking and my recipes. And I had already sold barbecue for a few years back in the North Carolina. So I knew the food was good. I'm a fan of it. I am a fan of my own food. I eat it every day. So I'm like, this might work. if I can get people to like it.
And
I didn't.
Does it get frustrating sometimes about the barbecue literacy up here in the Northeast? Because, listen, I'm a New England born and bred guy, and I love barbecue, but I don't know anything about it because I grew up in the Northeast.
Yeah.
I know what I like.
Yes.
I know what I like, and I know what's good. Yeah.
I have heard that so many times. So by men, they say that. But I'm not going to say we come from a state that we don't barbecue. It's just I grew up in Lowell, and we only barbecued on different holidays. It wasn't a big thing. And you know what? I did grow up around here, and I never ate barbecue growing up at other places.
Yeah.
We just ate it at our house. So, and even now, I'm still the only one like, hey, you would think in 2020, barbecue be just another restaurant. And we do have another one in Tewksbury. We do. I can't think of the name, but I've been there. They're not so bad either. Bobby and Jack and Bobby, something like that. But
all right,
yeah,
we've established you're part of this whole thing because it's your passion and your personality that adds something to this. And I want to know more about the backstory. So, did you come from a restaurant background? I want to know about that seminal moment where you were sitting at a table or at a bar or wherever you were sitting and suddenly said to yourself, I'm going to buy a truck. And I'm going to go drive a truck and sell barbecue. How did you get to that moment?
So, yes, I did love to cook. I've always loved to cook. And I had got a divorce settlement. And so I thought, I wanted to go into a storefront. I wanted to do something that I can make money. Because I knew the days of someone helping me make money was over. So I'm like, do something that you have passion with, that you want to do, that you can do. And I knew cooking was always my thing. So I thought it would be easier to take the little money I had and get a truck. And I got it all custom made and built like a barbecue truck. And barbecue's always been my favorite. It's just one of my, especially when I moved to the South and I realized how much I really liked it. And that's how kind of that started, that old dream and passion of just wanting to do my own food business. I worked in restaurants growing up. I've been a bartender. I was a bartender for years, almost 20 years. I've always been in the food business one way or another. But I knew when I stepped on my own, I wanted to do my own thing. I said, well, maybe going into cooking would be safe for me because it was a passion. And that's exactly what I did. And, by the grace of God, I've never had a failing venture, not yet. From the truck, I wound up getting, before you knew it, I had to wait. Because I have grown sons. And as sons got older, he had one on the south side. I had got one on the north side. He even had one parked outside of the Panther Stadium. And that right there, that was a lottery to get on that lot. We was on that lot, and the barbecue was good, and I noticed people really used to like to eat our food. And I said, wow, maybe we should get a storefront. Let's do all these things, and I want to go back home because I feel safer at home. I feel like if people love the food, we have half a chance instead of like Oakland here where there's a barbecue restaurant on every corner. And I wanted to come back home so bad. I was like, I want to go back to Massachusetts. The boys were grown. And I'm like, we lived here enough. My dad, my parents are older. So I wanted to coming back and bringing a barbecue with me. And that's how that started for me. Just kind of being consistent with the growth.
All right, if I've got the timeline correct, you were doing trucks before trucks were popular. And nowadays, trucks are coming back. Almost every restaurant's got a truck and going out there, and there are truck festivals, and people like eating off trucks. Do you have trucks now, or do you have any plans to put a truck on the road?
And just before this whole COVID thing, that was definitely going to be my next venture. I had already regretted the fact that I gave up the truck once I got back in. oh, they're popular. In Boston, I love the trucks out here. Even in Lowell, we have a few in Lowell. And I definitely was right there, you know, where I was going to feel comfortable getting a truck from the brand of the, you know, the Mill City brand. But with things going on now, I have no intentions on getting a truck until kind of things get better. Where people are more comfortable.
Yeah, well, let's hope that happens sooner rather than later. You've made us all hungry.
Yes.
I'm sure people are now checking their watches, waiting for 4 p.m. to come around. Our guest today has been Renay Wolterding, who is the owner of Mill City BBQ in Lowell. Renay, thank you so much for being on the 495 this week.
You guys were awesome. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Great.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and I'll see everybody next week.
And we'll see you soon.
Absolutely.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for hearing us.